With a unique design, the Oneshot Aero Powershot offers lightning-fast speed and improves response time by utilizing innovative airflow technology, a design located at the sides of the paddle face that allows air to flow through 4 vents. This technology reduces drag by 2% and is intended to improve paddle acceleration. The core is composed of polypropylene honeycomb that is evenly spaced for superb rebound, durability, and overall playability. The face features a UV printed graphite surface with vibrant colors that is textured for powerful spin. Dual edge guard technology along the paddle's edge offers a balance between flexibility and strength for energy distribution at impact. The paddle itself ranges from 8 to 8.5 ounces and features an elongated design that extends the paddle face to provide extra reach for both singles and doubles. Overall, the Oneshot Aero Powershot's speed and reach grants versatility from all areas of the court to take your game to the next level. First impressions when picking up the Oneshot Aero Powershot were the vents on the side here and also how it is a elongated paddle. As you know, I really enjoy hitting with the elongated paddles, but for me personally, I kind of wish that the grip was just a tad bit longer and maybe sacrifice a little bit of that paddle face, but that's just a personal preference of mine. As far as the air drag reduction goes by 2%, I didn't really notice that a whole lot. It's definitely a fast swinging paddle. So with the weight going in between 8 and 8.5 ounces and the fact that it's balanced pretty well to give you power, along with that extra speed, I noticed that this just had a lot of power potential in both singles and doubles. Some dislikes that I did notice about it is the fact that I had a hard time controlling my dinks, which for me, I tend to prefer more of that slice, more touch game. But for bangers or players that are hitting with a lot of power, they're probably really going to enjoy hitting with this paddle itself. The texture, I noticed, it does give pretty decent spin. I wouldn't say it's anything over the top, but I will say that the texture is holding up really well. I'd say we've been hitting this paddle maybe for a month, at least once, twice a week, getting a few matches in on each day. And the texture is starting to wear a little bit, but I would say it's above average in terms of how the texture is holding up. But again, if you are a big hitter, maybe a banger, tennis player, somebody looking for a longer paddle that has a ton of power, is really fast through the air, and just offers a decent amount of spin, I would recommend giving this one a shot. Or for those collectors that have to try every paddle, this is definitely one that has that unique design that is really worth trying out.
The first thing that I noticed when I had this paddle in hand is that it does have a bit of heft to it. And compared to other paddles that I've tested within the spec range, I did notice that weight a little bit more, but it was something that I adjusted to in time. That said, it did feel a little bit clunkier in hand than I typically prefer. But where this paddle stood out to me was in the touch game. For me, this paddle really excelled around the net. I found it was great for dinks, great when I was blocking. It had a very soft touch to it, but it also had some nice rebound coming off the face of the paddle. So it was a pretty seamless transition for me up at the kitchen line when switching to this for my paddle of choice. However, drives and whipping up a lot of power are big components to my game, and that's where I struggled a little bit with this paddle, mainly when it came to feel. For example, when I was going for a swinging volley, I was barely feeling the ball coming off the face of the paddle. So I like to feel a little bit more connected to the ball. Even if I was able to hit those shots effectively, I oftentimes wasn't sure if I was going to get the ball in or not. So and able to get really dialed into the consistency in play and really feel confident going for my targets, I do prefer having a little bit more feel in that regard. Another area that was a little bit hit or miss for me was power. Now there's definitely a lot of weight behind this paddle to tap into power, and when I found that sweet spot, I was definitely able to utilize that power potential, but it was a little bit inconsistent for me. The sweet spot sits a little bit higher in the paddle, so if I met the ball a little bit below that sweet spot, the balls were going to come off the paddle a little bit slower and pop up a little bit more on me. So I just had to be kind of aware of that when I was playing, as well as when I was hitting my serves. Another area that stood out to me though was the spin potential. This definitely had a lot of very sandpaper grit to it initially. As Andrew mentioned, it did start to wear off during the course of the playtest. However, I didn't really feel that affected the spin potential a whole lot. I was still able to tap into a lot of spin and really use that as a weapon in my games. And on top of all that, this paddle obviously has a very unique, fun design, unique construction with those air vents on the side of the paddle. So overall, this is really going to be a fun one for you to take out and try out for yourself.
When I was first told I would have the pleasure of trying out this paddle, I was super excited due to trying out the innovative airflow technology located on the outer edge of the paddles, as well as the heavy grit located on the graphite hitting surface. Due to the 8.25 average weight and the amount of grit located on the paddle hitting surface, I really thought this would be a perfect singles tournament paddle for me to replace my current paddle of choice. One thing I really enjoyed about this paddle was the easy access to power. and the easy access to spin. My dislikes for this paddle was the lack of touch and feel in the dinks, as well as the lack of maneuverability up at net. The reasoning why I didn't like the maneuverability of this paddle up at net was due to the overall weight located on the paddle and the head heaviness of the paddle. I just felt like I couldn't really maneuver it and hit my block shots really well due to the fact that it was feeling a little bit sluggish and slow for me up at net, as well as reacting for certain angles for my dinks. What I did essentially like a lot about this paddle was on the run during singles play. I really liked how I was able to run and just have a really nice clean cut through the air and produce a lot of spin and power to try to get me back into my point play. Overall, I would highly recommend this paddle for any singles players looking for a paddle with easy access to spin and power that will allow you to stay in the point and essentially turn defense into offense. That concludes our review on the Oneshot Aero Powershot paddle. For more information on this paddle and on many more paddles, be sure to check us out at totalpickleball.com. Thanks for watching.